Ready. Joining us now in the Element Well Studios, Ken Newburger, the Executive Director of the Mississippi Medical Marijuana Association. Good to see you, Ken. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me back.
So the law's in place, and I know your members who are involved in the industry are busy registering, paying their fees, and getting ready for business.
That's right. It's been pretty great to see so many businesses get their licenses in. Some are still working on their applications, but a lot of people have started to get their license back, and it's been pretty great to see the Department of Health and Department of Revenue work with them to get them their licenses.
Data I saw said that 111 dispensaries, the retail outlets, right, have received licenses and paid fees, or
That's
at least
correct.
applied, right?
No, that's correct. We've
Received
had
their license.
many more who have applied. Those are just the ones who have met all the requirements to receive a license.
Okay, so in accordance with our law, there's not a limitation on the total number of retail outlets, right, that can be established in the state, but there's some concentration restrictions.
That's correct. There are a bunch of distance requirements to keep them away from church, schools, and daycares, and also not make sure that we have so many all located in one location.
Each other.
Correct.
Yeah.
They have to be 1,500 feet from each other.
Yeah.
So when you start drawing lines and drawing circles and looking at opt-ins, opt-outs, it's not a whole lot of space left. You know, a lot of places, especially in more populated areas, are running out of space to put dispensaries.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Of course, we had some cities and counties that opted out. Last count I saw was like 24 or so. Where is it?
It's about 25% of all cities and a little less than that of all counties opted out. So it kind of tracks with the vote.
Okay. Yeah. And then some, such as my home county of Madison, opted out of retail. The county did.
Yes.
City of Madison opted out of everything. City of Ridgeland did as well. But the county of Madison, which would be the unincorporated areas, are allowing the other aspects of the supply chain, right? Cultivating, growing, processing, testing, et cetera.
A lot of places that opted out, especially at the county level, did something like that, where they wanted to push the more trafficked areas of dispensaries for the public into cities where they may have a little bit more resources to handle people coming in and out.
Okay. And so there are we have a sort of a tiered structure with respect to fees paid.
That's
right. License fees paid. For a dispensary, as I recall, it's $40,000 the first year. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then $25,000 in subsequent years.
All subsequent years, yes.
So it's an annual fee they have to pay, a license fee essentially.
That's correct. To
be in the business of retail sales.
That's correct.
All right. And then you've got, say, cultivators and so forth, and that's tiered based on the size
That's right.
of the facility.
Yeah, so there are two micro-grow licenses, which are really geared towards small entrepreneurial businesses in Mississippi. Those fees start at about $3,500 for the smallest ones, and you have to be 100% Mississippi-owned to have that. And then it scales up past that once you get to the 2,000 square foot grow space.
Okay.
We call it canopy. The 2,000 square feet of canopy. Once you get past that, then you have much higher fees for businesses that aren't just 100% Mississippi owned.
Okay, gotcha. I wasn't aware of that, of the Mississippi requirement there, Mississippi owned requirement. The highest tier, I believe, is 100,000.
Above 100,000.
100, okay, or above, and that taps out or maxes out at 150,000. Is that right?
There's no maximum amount of grow space.
Talking about the fee.
Oh, the fee. Yes, it's 160, I believe.
Okay, so once you get to the 100,000 square foot level, anything at that level and above, or maybe it's above 100,000, but
above 100,000,
150,000 is that's is it annual or one time?
It's got an annual fee. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think it's something like 50,000 is the.
I just found it. Okay. 60,000.
Yeah.
And then an annual fee of 150.
That's right.
Yeah, got it. License application fee 60,000, and then 150,000 a year. Okay. So, all right, well, doing the math there, at 40,000 for 111 dispensaries, that's about $4.5 million.
That's correct, and that's not including all of the people who applied that didn't make the standard. Either they were 1,500 feet from another dispensary, or maybe their security standards weren't up to par. And those fees have also been collected, and then that's only on the dispensary side, where we've had dozens and dozens of people apply on the grow and processing and transportation and testing side.
Interesting. All right, so I've seen outdoor advertising around the area, which are promoting events for the industry, right? And these would be events where those interested in participating in some way as a retailer or cultivator, or the other various categories, come to these events, learn about how to get going, all the requirements, the specifics of the laws that would relate to that area of the industry. You guys are involved in that, right?
That's right. We've put on quite a few events for people specifically on how to run a dispensary. That's what we've mostly been focused on, because that seems to be the place where the most need is. We just put on 2 conferences in the past 2 days with a company called Kova Software. They do point of sale and general management for dispensaries. Another company who does also point of sale and some processing, Dutchy Software. We did one with them last week. We've done quite a few across the state to try to get people up to speed on how difficult it is to run a cannabis business and how expensive it can be, but also arm them with knowledge of how do they actually apply and how do they do something in a compliant way.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a fairly common function of an association such as yours that represents a particular industry, is to be that sort of hub and source for that kind of information, education. And so we should point out that there are special requirements with respect to point of sale in the industry, because they've got to contribute to data to a database so that they can track how much has been purchased, right, by an individual patient in a period of time to be in compliance with the law. So it's a little unique sort of point of sale where you're literally contributing information to a database, as are your competitors.
That's correct. Everybody's contributing to the same seed to sale database. The state shows metric, and at that sale, you have to report immediately how much was sold, so that way they can't go to the dispensary half a mile away and maybe try to buy there. It has to be tracked in real time.
Okay. And so this kind of reminds me a little bit of when we were setting up the lottery. I used to say, you know, the bad news, if you're a lottery fan, the bad news is we're the 45th state to do it. The good news is we got 44 other states that have already kind of been down this path that we can examine for best practices. So your point about all these software tools are already out there, fully tested, in use, in production. So we're getting to take advantage of that, not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the way that we've done it. First, with the way we rewrote the bill. You know, Senator Blackwell and Representative Lee Yancey, they really looked at other states to write it, and then our Department of Health, Department of Revenue did the same thing for when they wrote their regulations. Most people I speak with from other states say Mississippi's really doing it right. They've learned from a lot of the experiences. Yeah, there are things that we might want to tweak here or there, but that's everything. But overall, our state is looking to have a really great program.
Okay. And so are you still on track? What do you think? Give us an estimate there. When a patient will be able to buy product in a store?
Everything seems to not – we haven't had any real hiccups throughout this entire time since we passed the bill. So if things continue to go that way and we get all the facilities that are doing testing licensed in the next month or so and they can start testing in October, we're looking at a November 1 start date.
Oh, wow. It sounds like it's moved up a little bit. I thought we were thinking end of the year. Huh?
Well, we were thinking the end of the year, but a few people have been able to get the right equipment into the state and get it up to speed that as long as they get their license, we'll be good to go.
Okay. And I know a lot of folks are interested in the revenue-generating aspect of this, 7% standard sales tax, right?
That's right.
On retail sales, then there's excise tax in the supply chain.
5% excise tax.
And you and I think the first time you came on, when you had taken this role, I think I may have asked you, how big do you think the industry will be? As I recall, you said $400 million.
Yeah, about $400 million. If we get to the right patient population, after about 3 years or so, we'll probably see about $400 million gross revenue across the state.
And is that $400 million of retail sales?
Retail sales,
okay,
yes.
$400 million of retail sales. And so you can do the math there to generate about $28 million of sales tax.
That's
right?
correct.
7%.
Yes.
$400 million of
yes. Retail price.
And, of course, some of that goes to the state, and then it gets diverted back to the municipalities. That's the way that works in our state. So that's a chunk of change. And then you got these annual license fees, which go to the general fund, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that could be significant as well.
Well, we only know exactly how much the Department of Revenue is collected because it's flat fees for dispensaries. We're still waiting to see how many people applied at the lower level versus the higher level. But I wouldn't surprise me if we saw somewhere closer to $10 million total fees this year alone, just in licensing.
Wow.
So that's going to kickstart the program.
And this is bringing in lots of folks that are already in this business from out of state that are coming into Mississippi. I mean, they were on go waiting for the law to pass.
That's right.
Bill to pass into law.
Yeah.
So, Ken, very informative. Appreciate you coming in, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon, especially with a prospective November 1 launch date.
That would be great if we can make that happen.
Sounds good. Ken Newburger, Executive Director of Mississippi Medical Marijuana Association, has been our guest on Middays. We'll step aside. We got a little Jimi Hendrix bumping us out of this segment. We'll come right back.